The film opens somewhere on the Gold Coast. Canadian tourist Greg and his girlfriend Heather arrive at Tucker's experience for a shark diving experience. They meet a guy named Dave who asks them if they have booked first, but the couple hasn't. Dave says that Tucker, the captain and owner of the boat, is on his holiday and he doesn't like to be interrupted. Before the couple leaves, Tucker arrives. They tell him that they overslept in their hotel and missed the boat cruise they had planned to take with their other friends. Tucker asks them if anyone knows that they are there. Heather gets slightly unnerved and asks him why. Tucker then jokingly says he wants to get their last will and testament in order and agrees to take them. On the ride across the water, Tucker tells Greg and Heather about how he survived a shark attack when he was a kid, with the large bite scars on his torso to prove it. He says since the accident, he has been wide awake. Heather asks why someone wasn't watching him, and Tucker says he used to spend a lot of time alone. They make it to a spot in the ocean, and Tucker dumps some animal blood in the water to gather the sharks. Greg and Heather are getting ready to deep dive under the water to watch the sharks, but Heather is nervous about it. Before they get inside a cage, Heather says she can't do it. Tucker holds both their hands and starts to calm them down by singing Baby Shark for them and making them sing it together. Heather finally agrees, and they are put inside the cage before they get submerged in the water. They are surrounded by multiple sharks, and Heather starts to get increasingly nervous. But she finally ends up finding the experience of seeing the sharks swimming around the cage to be beautiful. After their experience, Tucker brings Greg and Heather out of the cage. They thank him for the experience, but suddenly he takes out a knife and proceeds to stab Greg twice in the throat and push him into the water, to Heather's horror. Somewhere nearby, an American surfer named Zephyr is surfing along the shore. After she is done, she washes up and goes to a local supermarket to buy a drink. There, she sees a guy named Moses asking the cashier for some jumper cables to jumpstart his car, but the cashier tells them they are out. He asks Zephyr if she has some, but she tells him she does not. Outside, Zephyr pours her drink, and it is revealed that she has managed to steal an ice cream by hiding it inside. Moses approaches her again and blackmails Zephyr into helping him, or he will tell the store that she has stolen an ice cream. She drives Moses to his car. On their way, Moses tells her that he works in real estate, but Zephyr isn't in the mood to have a conversation. Moses says he has a theory about two kinds of people, aisle people and window people. Aisle people are more open and friendly, while window people are more private and thoughtful. He guesses that she is a window person, but Zephyr tells him to shut up. They then arrive at his car, and she sees a surfboard in the back of his car. She helps him jumpstart his car as they talk about their love for surfing and other parts of their lives. Zephyr and Moses have a one-night stand later on in the back of her van. Afterwards, they discuss their daily lives and Moses gets amazed when he hears that she eats 9 bread rolls in one day. He asks what got her into surfing, and Zephyr says she has nothing left on land. Later on, Moses cooks some food for her in his house and goes out to find her van gone. She heads for the ocean to surf in the middle of the night. Just as she is getting her board out, Zephyr realizes she has dropped her fin key at Moses' place. She finds Tucker's truck parked up there and proceeds to look for a fin key in the back, but Tucker returns. He admires her bravery for surfing alone in the middle of the night. Tucker then gives her a fin key and drives away. Zephyr then goes to her van and gets a message from Moses asking her why she has left. He asks to join her, and as she is inviting him, Tucker suddenly puts a bag over her head and puts her in a headlock. She tries to get away, but Tucker ultimately knocks her out. He throws out her surfing board in the ocean before putting her inside a bag and getting her in the back of his truck. He then drives her away and takes her to his boat, where he drags her onto the lower deck of the boat. Moses later goes to the spot where Zephyr parked her van and tries to join her. When he tries to call her phone, he hears it ringing inside the van. Zephyr wakes up chained to a bed in a room where Heather is also being kept prisoner. Zephyr tries to scream for help, but Heather tells her that no one will hear, and it is revealed that they are in the middle of the ocean. Tucker is eating food upstairs as he watches something on the TV. Zephyr tries to break her cuffs off the bed, but she is unsuccessful. She then sees a woman's name written on the wall. Tucker continues to have a good time as he fishes and drinks beer. Moses later finds the van being towed and goes to the police when he suspects something happened to Zephyr. The cop didn't take him seriously when he hears that he had known her for one day and doesn't even know her last name. Back at the boat, Heather cries and regrets the fight she had with her mother because she didn't want Heather to take a gap year, since she fears that she will be in danger. Her mother instead wanted her to go to law school and have her own house on the same street. But Zephyr tells her that it is her mother's plan and encourages her to lead her own life as she sees fit. Heather asks Zephyr about her parents, and Zephyr tells her that she grew up in foster care and doesn't know her real parents. She continues to try to break the bed where she has been cuffed to until she notices that Heather has an underwire in her bikini top. Heather gives her the bra, and Zephyr takes out the underwire since that is what she needs to pick the lock of the cuff. Before she picks the lock, Tucker comes into the room to feed the women. Heather puts the bed sheet on to cover herself. He offers her water and food, to which Heather takes the water and drinks. Tucker then notices that her bra is missing, but before he can do anything, Zephyr distracts him by asking for her food and water. After the girls eat and drink, Tucker leaves the room. Zephyr then proceeds with her plan to pick the lock, but it is revealed that Tucker has spiked the water, and the girls get knocked out. Tucker comes back into the room and finds the underwire, foiling Zephyr's escape plans. That night, the women awaken outside. Zephyr is strapped to a chair while Heather is tied to a harness. Tucker reveals to Zephyr that he was watching her surf for a while and has always wanted to abduct her. He then cuts Heather's hair and puts it in a plastic bag before he suspends her over the water. Heather cries and begs him to stop, but Tucker lowers her down into the water as sharks start circling the spot after luring them with chum. He quickly grabs a camera and starts to record the event. Suddenly, Heather starts to get attacked by the sharks. Despite Zephyr's pleas, Heather is killed and devoured as Tucker continues to record. He then tells Zephyr to get ready, as the next day will be her turn. Back in the room, Zephyr writes her and Heather's names on the wall. Upstairs, Tucker proceeds to put Heather's hair in a box together with her murder tape. He opens a locker and puts it inside, along with other tapes and hair bits from previous victims that he's done this to. Later, Zephyr continues to try to break herself free, but to no avail. She then sees a waste bucket there and breaks off the handle. Elsewhere, Moses is still looking for her when he finds her broken surfboard on the shore. Later, Tucker comes into the room to bring her some food, but Zephyr kicks the food and tells him to get away from her. Tucker starts to explain that the sharks are very important to the ecosystem since they bring order, and without them, chaos reigns, and weaker creatures think they can do whatever they want. Zephyr had enough and tells him not to compare himself to the sharks, as they are much superior to him. She tells him that he is the lowest human who likes to hurt women since his mother didn't love him. Tucker gets angry, but he controls himself and leaves the room. He goes upstairs, where he proceeds to make another tranquilizer to knock her out. He gets back to the room to find Zephyr asleep. Before he can inject her, she wakes up and stabs him with the bucket handle, where he hits his head in the process and gets knocked out. She gets his keys and undoes her cuffs before trying to make her way out. But Tucker wakes up, and he catches up to her. He sticks her leg with the tranquilizer, but Zephyr kicks him and proceeds to escape. Zephyr manages to get to the wheelhouse and tries to call for help, but the radio doesn't work. She then spots a party ship in the distance and goes out to call for help, but Tucker catches her. She picks up his camera and throws it into the water before she jumps in herself and starts to swim toward the party ship. But unfortunately, the tranquilizer knocks her out, and Tucker pulls her out of the water. The next day, Tucker returns to the mainland to find a new camera and equipment. Meanwhile, Moses, who has already gotten people to lead a search for Zephyr, finds security footage of Tucker's truck passing Zephyr's van from when she went missing. Moses finds the address to Tucker's experience and makes it to the boat. Meanwhile, Tucker is in a store looking for a camera. He looks through the shelf until he finds a camera just like his last one. He starts to return to his boat, but ends up running into traffic. Back at the dock, Moses looks for Tucker around the boat until he hears Zephyr screaming from inside. He breaks the door open and goes inside. He manages to find her, and she instructs him to get her a paperclip or a screw to escape from her cuffs and tells him to call the police. Moses runs upstairs as he calls the police, but Tucker returns and attacks him. Moses tries to talk to the police, but Tucker beats him up and hangs up the phone. Before Tucker can kill him with a hook, Moses knocks him down with a bag of tapes. He starts to strangle Tucker with the hook until Dave hits Moses from the back and knocks him out. However, Dave hears Zephyr scream, and before he reacts, Tucker slams the hook on his head and kills him. Tucker puts Moses down in the same room as Zephyr. He apologizes for failing to rescue her and asks if anything would have happened between them. Zephyr says she is better off being alone, but Moses disagrees and says he's got a good idea of who she is and how she has not had enough people care for her. Tucker then takes the boat out to a different spot and puts Moses on the harness for him to be shark food. Zephyr instructs Moses to stay absolutely still. Following this advice, the sharks do not harm Moses. Tucker pulls him out of the water and stabs him repeatedly in the abdomen to lure the sharks back, but he has to hide Zephyr and Moses when a lifeguard chopper flies overhead. With the two re-imprisoned, Zephyr tries to talk to Moses, but he is drifting in and out of consciousness as he loses a lot of blood. Having no choice, Zephyr breaks her thumb to escape the lock, but before she does escape, Tucker returns and brings them food. He tells Zephyr that she is like him, strong and willing to do anything to escape her situation. He adds that she and he are both sharks, and they fend for themselves. Before he leaves, Tucker says that tonight's show is going to be one for the ages. After he left, Zephyr tries to free herself from the cuffs, but her broken thumb isn't enough since the cuffs are tight. She sees Moses slowly dying, and having no other way of escaping, Zephyr proceeds to bite off her thumb. Tucker cooks up another tranquilizer and goes back to the room to find Zephyr's bed bloodied. He takes off the bed sheets and finds only her severed thumb. Zephyr comes out from behind the door and locks him inside the room. She runs upstairs to the wheelhouse and turns on the boat. Tucker uses a screw to take off the window of the boat and escape. He goes down to the engine room and cuts off the power before Zephyr drives anywhere. Zephyr then sees lights on a nearby island and takes out some flares, but Tucker catches up to her. She fires the flare at him and locks herself inside the kitchen. She tries to escape outside by breaking the roof glass. Before she can escape, Tucker breaks into the room and drags her down. He tries to attack her, but she stabs him in the hand with a kitchen knife and knocks him down with a pan. Tucker gets up and goes out to see her swimming toward the island. He tries to shoot her with a harpoon gun, but he loses sight of her. Zephyr continues to swim toward the island, but sees Tucker approaching with another small boat. She manages to reach the island, but before she can call for help, Tucker catches up to her. He holds her down and puts her in a headlock until she is knocked out before he drives her back to the boat. Tucker has now put Zephyr on the harness while Moses is strapped to the chair. He wakes her up and starts to explain about the behavior of the marlin fish. He tells them that marlin is a fisherman's favorite fish because it puts up a good fight. But no matter how hard the fish tries to escape, once the hook is on, the fish will be on the boat. Then a massive white shark comes and starts to circle the water. Tucker lowers her down as the shark comes near her due to the blood leaking from her hand. The shark tries to attack her, but Zephyr kicks it and manages to scare it away. Tucker uses a stick to push the shark to attack Zephyr, but the shark snatches the stick out of his hand, giving Zephyr a chance to grab hold of it. She pulls herself up the harness using the stick, but Tucker causes her to fall back into the water, though she is free from the harness. Zephyr is underwater, and she comes face to face with the great white shark. The shark approaches her, but swims away without harming her. Zephyr swims around the boat and makes her way back on while Tucker tries to spot her. She grabs a harpoon gun and fires it at Tucker, impaling him and pushing him into the water, where the great white shark emerges and devours him. Zephyr gets pulled in by the harpoon string, but she pulls herself out and spots the party boat from earlier that she tried to signal. She gets a flare and uses it, alerting the boat. Zephyr goes to get Moses, who appears unconscious from his wounds. She pleads with him to wake up and tells him that she used to have nothing for her on land, but now she has him. Moses wakes up, happy to hear this, and Zephyr smiles and laughs with relief.